Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the topic Amazon S3 Part 1. So we'll start with the introduction. So what do you mean by S3? S3 stands for Simple Storage Service. As the name implies, it is used to store all the data, on-premises data or cloud data within the cloud itself. Okay, so Amazon S3 provides developers and IT teams with secure, durable, and highly scalable cloud storage. Amazon S3 is easy to use object storage with a simple web service interface that you can use to store and retrieve any amount of data from anywhere on the web. Since this is an object level, object storage, like we can download, we can retrieve the stored data at anywhere from the web because it is only available in the website. Like unlike a traditional storage services, it will be stored in on cloud itself, so that we which means we can download or we can retrieve the data from wherever we are. Okay, and next one is it also allows you to pay only for the storage you actually use, which eliminates the capacity planning and capacity constraints associated with the traditional storage. So when you go for a traditional storage, we need to plan the capacity and capacity constraints and initial capital cost, all those stuff and all we need to consider. So when you go for a cloud Amazon S3, everything will become running cost. Not it is not like a capital cost. Okay, so next one is Amazon S3 can be used alone or in conjunction with other AWS services, and it offers a very high level of integration with many other AWS cloud services. So it can be conjunction, either it can be used alone or it can be a conjunction with other AWS services. That is one big advantage of Amazon S3. So we'll move to the next one. So common use cases. So what are all the common use cases? First one is backup and archive for on-premises or cloud data. Next one is content, media, and software storage and distribution. Big data analytics, static website hosting, cloud native mobile and internet application hosting, disaster recovery. So what do you mean by static website hosting? I would like to highlight this one. This features actually. So static website is nothing but all the web pages of all the pages of a website contains only static data. Okay, there is no need to that website doesn't need much more usage of web server. So that is called static website hosting. So you can do a static website hosting in S3 itself. But please do remember, we cannot run any other operating system or database on the S3 cloud storage because it's purely used for storage purpose. So if you want to run any operating system or any database engine or database or any other web server in the sense, then you should go for EC2 instance. So we will see about EC2 instance in after this S3 topic covered. Okay. So next one is block and file storage. Before get into the S3 Amazon S3 storage services, we need let me briefly explain about the traditional block and file storage. Okay, so far they have used on it, but in Amazon S3, instead of in contrast with the block and file storage, it is used as object storage. We will see one by one. Okay, the first point is, in traditional IT environments, two kinds of storage dominate. One is a block storage and next one is a file storage. Block storage operates at a lower level, the raw storage device level, and manages data as a set of numbered fixed size of blocks. Whereas file storage operates at a higher level, like operating system level, and manages data as a named hierarchy of files and folders. Block and file storage are often accessed over a network in the form of storage area network for block storage using protocols such as iSCSI or fiber channel, or as a network attached storage file server or filer for file storage using protocols such as common internet file system or internet network file system. See, there is nothing but like block storage uses iSCSI or fiber channel as a protocol. Like it using iSCSI or fiber channel protocol, which is nothing but a storage area network. Like before explain this point, since you are all already working in the environment, you know about what is mean by storage area network or network file store. Like, I mean network sharing. shared devices and all. So like commonly there will be a place which where we can use our own for uh, our own data on it, and then with the help of that shared storage we can share the same we can share the space with the other employee as well. Okay, so that one is used for that one is used the protocol called network file system, or CAFS, common internet file system. So whereas like each and every organization should have a two number of storage. One is a storage area network, another one is a shared drive. So in storage area network uses ISKC or fiber channel as a protocol, whereas shared drive will use the NFS or file system, common internet file system, as a protocol. Whether directly attached or network attached block or file, this kind of storage is very closely associated with the server and the operating system that is using the storage. So next one is object storage. Actually, Amazon S3 is a cloud object storage, which means like what kind of data it might be, it will consider as a stream of bytes. Okay, so instead of being closely associated with a server, Amazon S3 storage is independent of a server and is accessed over the internet. Instead of managing data as a blocks or files using SCSI, CFS, or NFS protocols, data is managed as objects using an application program interface built on standard HTTP webs. So it's purely worked on HTTP protocol since it's a cloud object storage. So it will in the object level, like you can store any kind of data, whether it might be a media file, audio file, or some other external data. So whatever the data it might be, you can store in the object level, and the object is nothing but data. The object is nothing but a file name. Like you can, as of now, just imagine that one is the file name. So inside the file name, like you can save a number of data. Okay, and each Amazon S3 object contains both data and metadata. So objects reside in containers. Data is nothing but a file itself, and the metadata is nothing but about that file, like what time of they have created, and last modified date, and when it has been modified, and who has been modified. All those informations will be available in the metadata, like how much what is the file size. All those informations will be available in the metadata, whereas data is nothing but what data you are saving, you are storing actually. So objects reside in containers called buckets, and each object is identified by a unique user specified key. Just imagine that as a file name. Each and every object will have their own object name. User specified key, which is nothing but file name. But actually, there is a lot of difference between file name and object identified keys, user specified key. Okay, because why I'm saying this means in a normal computer you can have a folder and you can have another folder inside a folder, whereas in here there will be a bucket, and inside a bucket all like objects will be stored actually. So we cannot have a bucket inside a bucket. Bucket is nothing but, imagine that that as a folder name. Okay, so in a normal computer we can have a folder inside a folder, whereas in Amazon S3 we cannot have a bucket inside a bucket. We'll see in a minute in the upcoming slides as well. Okay, so objects reside in containers called buckets, and each object is identified by a unique user-specified key. Buckets are simple flat folder with no file system hierarchy. So as I mentioned earlier, there is no file system. Okay, so that is, you can have multiple buckets, but you can't have a sub bucket within a bucket. Each bucket can hold an unlimited number of objects. Like it will store from 0 bytes to 5 terabyte for each and for one object. In one object, you can store from 0 bytes to 5 terabytes. So which means the unlimited number of objects you can store in a bucket itself. And you can't mount a bucket, open an object, install an operating system on Amazon S3, or run a database on it. So as like in the previous slide itself, I have mentioned, single bucket can store an unlimited number of files. If you need traditional block or storage addition to the Amazon S3 storage, the Amazon EBS service provides block level storage for Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud instances. Amazon Elastic File System provides network attached shared file storage using the NFS version 4 protocol. So it is using NFS, Network File System version 4, as a protocol. So we'll move to the next one. So next one is bucket. So what do you mean by bucket? Bucket is a container for objects stored in Amazon S3. So as I mentioned earlier, you just imagine container as a folder in the normal computer. Like we have a folder, and inside folder we have some data, audio file or media file, right? So you just imagine as a folder name. So it is container is nothing but a folder which is used to store objects. So it is a web folder which is used to store files on it. And buckets names are global. This is a very important point. This means that your bucket names must be unique across all AWS accounts, much like domain name system, not just within your own account. You can create and use multiple buckets. You can have up to 100 per account by default. Even though the namespace for Amazon S3 buckets is global, each Amazon S3 bucket is created in a specific region that you choose. This lets you control where your data is stored. You control the location of your data. Data in the Amazon S3 bucket is stored in that region unless you explicitly copy it to another bucket located in different region, which means we have to copy the all the objects. I mean, all the objects or buckets into some other locations, unless otherwise it will not be done by automatically. And you can create up to 100 per account. This is also one of the important point. Okay, let's move on. So next one is objects. So what do you mean by objects? Objects are entities. So in previous topic we have seen about entities, identity, resource, all the principles and all, right? So what do you mean by identity? Sorry, entity. Entity is nothing but a resource object which is used to identify and group. So objects are entities or files stored in Amazon S3 buckets. An object can store virtually any kind of data in any format. Objects can range in size from 0 bytes up to 5 terabyte, and a single bucket can store an unlimited number of objects. An object's data is treated as a simply stream of bytes. So as I mentioned earlier, it is object wise, I mean object storage, right? Okay, so Amazon S3 doesn't know or care what type of data you're storing, and the service doesn't act differently for text data versus binary data. So the whatever data it might be, I'm don't bothering about. For me it is a stream of bytes. This is how the objects will look like. I mean, this is how the object will behave. Each object consists of data and metadata. So data is nothing but file itself, and the metadata is data about the file, like size of the file and who, like when did it has been created and last modified date. All those informations will be available. The metadata associated with an Amazon S3 object is a set of name value pairs that describes the object. There are two types of metadata: system metadata and user metadata. System metadata is created and used by Amazon S3 itself. The date, last modified, object size, MD5 digest, that is for security, for encryption, and HTTP content type. User metadata is optional, and it can only be specified at the time of an object is created. So this is also I have already discussed about. I mean, I have already talked about. So next one is a key. So what do you mean by key? Every object stored in a S3 bucket is identified by a unique identifier called a key. This is nothing but a file name. You can think of a key as a file name. A key can be up to 1024 bytes of Unicode UTF-8 characters, including embedded slashes, backslashes, dots, and dashes. Keys must be unique within a single bucket, but different buckets can contain objects with the same key. So remember, the buckets should be unique in overall the AWS cloud, like just like a DNS. And inside an object, you can have yeah, a number of objects, but each and every object should have a different file name. Okay, but between two different buckets, you can have a same file name. That's not an issue. But within a single bucket, you can have only one number of unique file name. Keys must be unique within a single bucket. That's what it means actually. The combination of bucket, key, and optional version ID uniquely identifies an Amazon S3 object. So which is nothing but if you go for S3 object, like if you want to access a particular object, then we need to mention the bucket name and the file name of the each and every object. Okay, the Amazon S3 is storage for the internet, and every Amazon S3 object can be addressed by a unique URL formed using the web services endpoint, the bucket name, and the object key. So first it will start with HTTP colon double slash. Obviously, since it is using HTTP protocol for traffic, I mean for to access. And next one is mybucket.s3.amazonaws.com. This is a bucket name. My bucket is a bucket name of the particular storage, and slash fee slash fi slash fo slash fm slash jack dot dog is nothing but a object name. Okay, so this is how the an object is addressed by a unique URL. So next one is Amazon S3 operations. So as the normal HTTP protocol, like what we will do for SOAP UI or REST API, we will do CRUD, create, retrieve, create, read, update and delete. The same operations will be applicable here as well. So it is used to create or delete a bucket we can do, and write an object, read an object, delete an object, list keys in the object. Keys is nothing but what are all the objects are available in a bucket. S3 support both REST, representational state transfer, and SOAP, symbol object access protocol API. But like SOAP is a legal, traditional one. So REST is a advanced one. So it is recommended when you like when you plan to store something on the internet. It is please use the REST API calls. It is recommended actually. So next one is durability and availability. Amazon S3 standard storage is designed for 99.99, I can say 11.9% of durability and 99.99% of availability of objects over a given year. So for 1 year it will be available, and if you want to continue, you need to renew the we need to renew it. Okay, after renew it, and 1 more year will be added. So similar, just like that. Okay, so Amazon S3 achieves high durability by automatically storing data redundantly on multiple devices in multiple facilities within a region. If you need to store non-critical or easily reproducible derived data, such as the image thumbnails, that doesn't require this high level of durability, you can choose to use reduced redundancy storage at a lower cost. RRS offers 99.99% of durability with a lower cost of storage than traditional Amazon S3 storage. But for your information, currently this has been deprecated actually. Okay, so we have a lot of other kind of storage classes we'll see in the upcoming slides. Even though Amazon S3 storage offers very high durability at the infrastructure level, it is still a best practice to protect against user level accidental deletion or overwriting of data by using additional features such as versioning, cross region replication, and MFA delete. So versioning is nothing but if you enable versioning, like we will see in everything in upcoming slides. But as of now, versioning is nothing but just imagine like a restore point. So you have created, you have uploaded one file, okay, and you have downloaded and you do some modifications, and then you again your second time you are going to upload, in the sense automatically the first will be get replaced since with the file name. Okay, but if you enable the versioning, first it will keep both the files as mentioned with some kind of key, like unique key. So with the help of that, you can have if you want to continue with the latest one, you can go for it, or else if you find something fault on the latest one, you can go back to the previous version. Like in our normal computer, those who have developing background, you know what you mean by versioning. But for those who don't know about the versioning, it is just imagine in all our computer we have a system restore point, right? We can create a system restore point before install anything. So that is something similar to this, similar to that only. Like versioning will working actually. Next one is cross region replication. That is nothing but you are storing the objects in one region, and the same thing if you copy the all the stuff into the other region for high availability and for disaster recovery. And next one is MFA delete, is nothing but multi-factor authentication. So if any user tries to delete the data, they need to enter a one-time password as well. So that is MFA is nothing but additional layer of security. Okay. So next one is data consistency. So Amazon S3 is an eventually consistent system because your data automatically replicates across multiple servers and locations within a region. So sorry for the wrong information I have provided on the previous slides. I said we need to manually copy the data to the other region actually, but actually it will be automated. We can configure in such a way so that whatever the data is available in here will be automatically get replicated on the other region. Okay. Within a region, changes in your data may take some time to propagate to all locations. For puts to new objects, Amazon S3 provides read after write consistency. Obvious, right? So if you want to read something, you need to we supposed to write something on the cloud, right? So without giving anything, can I get anything, no, right? So the same policy is applicable here. So before you read any kind of data, you must write something on the particular bucket. So that is how the consistency works actually. However, for puts in existing objects and for object deletes, Amazon S3 provides eventual consistency. Eventual consistency means that if you put new data to an existing key, a subsequent get might return the old data. Similarly, if you delete an object, a subsequent get for that object might still read the deleted object. In all cases, updated to a single key or atomic. For eventually consistent reads, you will get the new data or the old data, but never an inconsistent mix of data. So, which means it's very simple. So, if you read something or if you delete something, it will take some time to get reflect on the other region. So, it's very simple. So, this is what they are trying to convey actually. Okay. So, next one is access control. Again, access control is used to secure the S3 bucket. So Amazon S3 is secure by default, but when you create a bucket or object on Amazon S3, only you have access. This is a default one, but we can give access, like with the help of access control list or bucket policies, we can secure our S3 bucket on the cloud itself. So fine grained access controls, which is nothing but Amazon S3 bucket policies, identity access management policies, and coarse grained access controls is nothing but access control list. So control list will work at a lower level, whereas bucket policies and IAM policies will work at a higher level. Okay, and using an Amazon S3 bucket policy, you can specify who can access the bucket from where and during what time of day. So this is we have already seen about in IAM part actually. So next one is static web hosting. So as I mentioned earlier, static website hosting is nothing but all the pages of web server will contain only the static data. So that is called the static website hosting. So now we are going to see the steps. How can we do static web hosting? Initially, first, you need to create a bucket with the same name as the desired website host name. Then upload the static files to the bucket. Make all the files as a public, that is world readable. Enable static website hosting for the bucket. This includes specifying an index document and an error document. The website will now be available at the S3 website URL, URL. I'm sorry, the website will now be available at the S3 website URL. URL is bucket name dot S3 hyphen website hyphen AWS region, which region, and AWS Amazon AWS.com. This is how the URL will look like. Create a friendly DNS name in your own domain for the website using DNS CNAME or an Amazon Route 53 alias that resolves to the Amazon S3 website URL. So Amazon 53 Route 53 is nothing but DNS. Okay, the website will now be available at your website domain name. So that's all, guys. Today the part one video is over. So in part two video, we will see about the classes and storage life cycles, all those informations and all. So thank you. Hope you all like this video. So if you have any feedback, please leave a comment and subscribe to. Don't forget to subscribe to Mitravarna channel. Thank you.